Welcome to episode 9 of Bagels and Locks. Crazy to think we've done 9 of these things. Crazy to also think it is almost August. Been quite the journey over this quarantine with you guys. I'm Jason Silverstone, along with my co-host, as always, Brandon Rothenberg, and we got a pretty exciting episode for you guys today. As we know, sports are coming back this week. Got a big preview, the MLB for you. We're talking some of the exhibition games that have happened, the opening night. Zion left the NBA bubble, but no players in the bubble have tested positive yet. That's a great thing. Got WNBA this Saturday and a headline there for you. And we're going to also be talking Madden ratings, as it seems everyone has been these days. But most importantly, we have an exclusive interview with our good friend Eli Weil. Eli actually made the intro music that you just heard not too long ago, and the outro music that you hear if you get to make it all the way through this episode. But he is pursuing a career in audio engineering and music production and has been releasing some songs of his own as of late. So we talked to him about that, and we also play a little game with him to see whether or not he can guess the T-Pain lyric. So, Brandon.
Yes, you don't want to miss that.
Yeah, you do not want to miss that at all. Usually we catch up, see how we're doing, but I don't really give a shit how Brandon's doing today. So we're just going to hop right into it. The Taco Bell, not the Taco Bell. Jesus.
The Taco
I feel
Bell,
like
just
the boomer.
one.
I feel like a boomer saying that shit. So no offense to any boomers listening. I know we do have a little boomer audience. But starting August 13th, Brandon,
yes,
will no longer be able to get certain items from Taco Bell.
Should we say these items?
Yeah, sure. I was giving you the opportunity, but I will say them.
Okay. I was being rhetorical. You go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Be my guest. Talk about the Taco Bell menu items.
The Taco Bell menu items that are being discontinued are the grilled steak soft taco, the 7-layer burrito, nacho supreme, beefy Fritos burrito, spicy tostada, triple layer nachos, spicy potato soft taco, cheesy fiesta potatoes, loaded grillers, chips and dips, and the mini skillet bowl. Now, one thing I'm seeing that's missing from this article from CNN Business is the quesarito. I thought that was one of the items that was rumored to be gone.
Was one of the items rumored to be gone. Probably one of their top sellers, I would think.
Me too.
I didn't catch in that article. I've seen several articles, but they did say the quesarito is being pieced. CNN seems to be misinformed in that regard. But they also had mentioned that all potato items will be removed as well. Jason, I don't know about you. I've had some of it's been a while, but I've had some of the potato things from Taco Bell, and you would think Taco Bell potatoes, they don't really go well, maybe on paper, but in reality, it's always pretty good. I mean, it's Taco Bell. Yeah. You're not getting top of the line, high quality potatoes by any means, but people are going to miss them. And I don't know about you. I don't remember the last time we've seen something like this in fast food where a significant menu item has been pieced, just totally discontinued from the menu. If anything, in the past we've seen breakfast being added. I remember when Taco Bell announced breakfast and people were going nuts. Yeah. Also thought it was going to be gross. Some people think it's gross. I haven't had it in years. They had the waffle breakfast taco.
Mm-hmm.
That was I like syrup in my eggs. I'm going to be honest. Some people love it. Other people think it's disgusting. But there's something about it. It's kind of good. That was just a side rant. But anyway, I'm sure a lot of people are really going to be bummed. Go to Taco Bell. Get the beefy Fritos burrito, the triple layer nachos. Of course, the quesarito while you can. I didn't even know they had chips and dip, and I don't know what a mini skillet bowl is. Never heard of these items.
I feel like the loaded grillers were a popular item with some as well. And when it says all potato items, does this include the nacho fries? Because the nacho fries are not bad at all if you've had those with the dip.
You bring up
Have you
one
thought
of the
about
best.
that?
You bring up one of the best points that has ever been brought up on this show.
I don't think anyone's even talking about this on Twitter or anywhere. No one's even thought about what is going to happen to the nacho fries.
Do you remember the commercials for nacho fries, bro?
How
They were
could I
like it was
forget?
like a Michael Bay directed movie. Like it was so serious.
They got us
I
up and out of Linden once or twice to go get them.
didn't matter the time of day either. Let's just say,
Or night for that matter.
or night. But there was a point; those were like it was temporary. Originally, nacho fries were a temporary thing, and I remember I went like in East Lansing, went to order nacho fries, and she was like, "Sorry, those are discontinued." And I was like, "What? This was like your most insane product on the menu."
Mm-hmm.
Then a few months later, they brought them back.
They're
I
back.
don't know. They're back. But Jason,
Are they gonna be back? That's the question.
Are they back right now? Have they?
No, I don't know. Now I'm saying after this, after August 13th, they said all potato items, nacho fries are a potato item.
Bro, well, if that's the case, go get your nacho fries while you can, and come August 13th, may they rest in peace. And if you are listening right now and you love Taco Bell, you swear by Taco Bell, please reach out to us. Feel free. We just started an Instagram page. You can follow us at Bagels and Locks Pod. Big news there, honestly.
That's the most newsworthy thing. How did we forget about that one?
That we forgot to talk about. Bagels and Locks Pod. Please let us know. You can feel free to DM us, comment on YouTube. Let us know your favorite Taco Bell items, and we are sure to respond to you and let you guys know our thoughts on our favorite items, if we can agree with you or not. But some really sad news out there for Taco Bell fans, especially those who love nacho fries.
Certainly, but gotta move on. MLB exhibition games. So first of all, opening night is this Thursday between the Yankees and Nationals. Huge game. And it was announced Dr. Anthony Fauci will be the one throwing out the first pitch. Now, I usually don't geek out or get too excited about these first pitch things, but that is a pretty big superstar to have come in there and throw out the first pitch.
Here's the thing is everyone knows who Anthony Fauci is. 8 months ago, no one knew who he was. I didn't know who he was. But this is crazy. I mean, this is like, remember when 50 Cent threw out the first pitch at the Mets game?
And if you haven't seen it, you got to YouTube that one because he throws it nowhere near the catcher. I hope Fauci does a good job.
Okay, so this is what I was going to say, and I didn't think of this before. Think about the pressure that celebrities face when they throw out a first pitch. Now you have Anthony Fauci, who supposedly was an all-star hooper back in the day.
Yes,
I'm not sure if you heard this, Jason.
Oh, I've read all the articles.
So he, you take his status in mind. He is also probably a great athlete. Will he throw a strike? I sure think he will.
My money's on yes.
And there's no one in the stands. He's going to be looking at probably cardboard cutouts. There's zero pressure. He will be the first person in the history of Major League Baseball to throw the ceremonial first pitch with no fans in the stands.
I think a couple people have done it at Tigers games these past couple of years.
Oh, boo. That's tough. That's
a low blow.
That's a low blow. Maybe got a point. But regardless, he is the first one. I love to see it. We love to see it. I wonder if ESPN is going to make like a big deal about it pregame. I'm sure they will. And I'm really excited to see that. Also, Jason, what's really interesting is that a lot of teams – so the Tigers have yet to do this, but they will within the next 2 days – are playing exhibition games against the teams that they will be playing. Mm-hmm. The Yankees are playing the Nationals. They just played the Phillies. Really interesting because Joe Girardi. I'll tell you what. There's a lot of baseball news that me personally, as big of a baseball fan that I am, I forgot about because it happened back in the winter, and here we are. The All-Star game would have happened literally 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So Joe Girardi, became the manager of the Phillies. He came back into baseball. So they were talking about it. He would have gotten a huge standing ovation making his return to Yankee Stadium. Didi Gregorius. What are you going to say?
no longer. He's not. That's not possible anymore.
Right, right. So it's tough. I'm sure that part of him was, slightly bummed. Even when he had signed that contract and said he was going to announce to be the Phillies' next manager, because I'm sure for him, he was really looking forward to returning to Yankee Stadium. Longtime manager, great, really great guy, knows a lot about the game. I like him a lot. I've always really liked Joe Girardi, and just tough that he won't, get that warm welcome. So we saw that the Nationals played the Phillies actually in an exhibition
Mhm.
game. Bryce Harper took Scherzer deep, pimped one on him actually. We love to see that. So guys, players alike, everyone's looking honestly ready, as if the season was where we are now, or where we would be like post All-Star break. They always say, you would think like the pitchers would be ahead of the batters because some of these guys haven't seen a lot of live pitching as they would if the season actually took place.
Yeah.
But I think that everyone is relatively on the same page in terms of the level of preparedness. We have seen fans putting in, or excuse me, stadiums putting in crowd noise, pumping in like fan noise, if you will. Have you seen any like the highlights, Jason, where you see like someone hit a home run and then they will pump in the fan noise?
I haven't seen it, but I did actually want to touch upon something I didn't put in our prep.
I know
But it
exactly what
was,
it is.
yes, it was what I DM'd you or texted you, whatever, that
Yeah,
fans can now actually watch the game while they're on this app. I think it might be the MLB app. I'm not sure what app it is actually. But
yes.
they can click on either team to cheer or boo for, and whoever the guy that's running the audio board will adjust accordingly. So there'll be more cheering for a certain team or more booing for a certain team, depending on how people interact with that app. So one thing I was saying to you, Brandon, was like I guess we're all Astros fans this year because everyone is just gonna be booing the fuck out of them.
Yeah, yes. Really interesting twist of events prior to COVID happening now that it's actually possible to boo the Astros, which is really cool. I'm for sure going to download the app. It's like the MLB Ballpark app, which is like a second, like an app that you do use for like tickets and stuff. I don't know. I've used it before. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that looks really cool. And the only way, though, I feel is like I'm sure there's gonna be hot little like 30-second snippets on Twitter that you'll see of people tweeting out like how that actually takes place in real time. So that'll be really cool. Some more news for you guys. The original story went that for the Toronto Blue Jays, they were supposed to play at the Rogers Center in Toronto, and they were going to stay at the hotel in the Rogers Center, and it's easy for them. They never had to leave the ballpark. And they were told that there would be a $750,000 fine plus potential jail time if they were caught outside of the stadium. Now, this has dramatically changed because the Canadian government basically came out and said, the Blue Jays cannot play in Toronto any longer. So now, one, the Blue Jays are looking for a new home, and supposedly it's PNC Park where the Pittsburgh Pirates play. The other thing is that was absurd. $750,000 fine
I
is
mean,
that's
obviously they were trying to be very strict about it to make sure there was a bubble environment sort of similar to what is going on in the NBA in Disney World,
mhm,
but obviously like now they're even being so strict that they're not letting them play in their home country anymore. So I guess they
right.
won't have to worry about that any longer, but that is a very steep fine, especially on a year where your salary is majorly reduced.
Right. Well, this could have been the case too with the Toronto Raptors, but not necessarily because they're in the bubble. None of those teams are
Orlando, yep.
playing. Right. They're not elsewhere throughout the country. So I guess this was, I hadn't really thought about it in terms of Toronto. And then not only that, but you have teams that will be traveling to Canada too. So it's just very complicated. And to me, it actually makes sense that they're not allowed to play in Toronto. The only question then becomes, where is it that they can end up playing? So I haven't heard anything or seen anything in regards to that new fine or that rule that was put in place, a $750,000 fine. I'm sure some more information will come out. in regards to that scenario. But something else that we've seen, Jason, we saw it with last night's game, the Giants, San Francisco Giants, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Their new manager, Gabe Kapler, and some of the players were kneeling prior to or during the national anthem. And this obviously is interesting because we saw it in baseball before. I think he was catcher on the A's. I can't think of his name, but he was like the first guy to do it, first player in Major League Baseball to kneel. And there was a whole big ordeal about it. So much so, I don't even think he's playing in the league today. But quote here from Gabe Kapler, the manager of the Giants, said, I wanted them to know that I wasn't pleased with the way our country has handled police brutality. And I told them I wanted to amplify their voices and where'd it go? I wanted to amplify their voices, and I wanted to amplify the voice of the Black community and marginalized communities as well. He wants to use his platform to demonstrate his dissatisfaction with the way that we've handled racism in our country. I wanted to demonstrate my dissatisfaction with clear systemic racism in our country, and wanted them to know that they get to make their own decisions. Also, I found this was interesting too. Donald Trump early this morning tweeted, looking forward to live sports, but anytime I witness a player kneeling during the national anthem, a sign of great disrespect for our country and our flag, the game is over for me. So take that as you will. I think we're going to see a lot of this play out during the regular season. You know, players, like we've talked about before over in the NBA, that they've been given the opportunity to, have messages on the back of their jersey instead of their last name. So, Jason, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this trend continue throughout baseball during the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because, you think about it in terms of the NFL and you think about it in terms of the NBA, but I feel like not a lot of people really think about it for baseball as much, because there's honestly not that many African American players in the league as compared to some of the other leagues. But it'll definitely be interesting to see who's kneeling, who's not kneeling, and how big of an impact that has in the sport of baseball. But yeah, you definitely bring up a good point. Just a couple more things I want to talk about before we get to our interview with Wheels, Eli Weil. We call him Wheels if you didn't catch that already.
Pick up on that one.
Yeah. But one thing I'm looking at for opening night, opening day is the under in the Nationals-Yankees game. Scherzer has been pretty dominant in most of his opening day performances. And, we were kind of talking about it earlier. Maybe the pitchers are a little bit more ready than the batters are. And usually that's typically the case with most opening days. I say this now, I'm sure they'll get rocked. But I think and you got Garrett Cole on the Yankees now too, which you have to remember, who is also a very, very solid pitcher.
Familiar matchup between both pitchers too. Garrett Cole on the Astros last year.
Certainly.
So, an ALCS reunion, if you will.
And both guys are obviously eager to get out there and start pitching again. I think the line is laying around 7.5 or something like that, which is a little low. But as we said, Scherzer and Cole, those are two of the premier guys in the league. So that's go for
Sorry,
it.
no, I was going to say I need to correct myself heavily there. I said an ALCS matchup. I meant to say World Series. I don't know why I was thinking Scherzer is in the American League for some odd reason. But
let's just say he was long ago, unfortunately.
He was long ago, unfortunately. That is correct.
But
so you said the line was set at 7.5?
I think it's at 7.5 right now. Might go down or up by the time you guys are hearing it. That's what it was the last time I checked. And then one more that I sent you, Brandon. This is I don't have this line in my book. You guys might have it in yours, but a Cy Young long shot bet. This is my guy right here, Hyun Jin Ryu, at around plus 3,300. He kind of faded towards the end of last year, if you guys remember, but up until the first 2/3 of the season, he had the best ERA with 1.4 and the best or second best whip in the entire league. So he was a dominant force early, and I think because maybe he's not on the Dodgers anymore, he might be on the Blue Jays now, and everything going on with them, he might be a little overlooked. So some value there for you guys on those two plays. Hopefully,
Question: Do you have that list of odds in front of you by any chance, or no?
I do not.
Okay.
I could try and find it though.
Well, feel free, but I was gonna
I'll
say,
look it up real quick.
so it was what, plus 3,300. So now what's tricky is, Ryu. So right, he's now with the Blue Jays. He just signed a fat contract, which is always interesting when you sign a pitcher long term for many reasons. But aside from that,
Yeah. Okay. So
now with him
I
being in
have it
that.
for AL and NL. So just let me know what you want to hear.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, now that he's in the AL East, his considering his division and all the teams that they were going to be playing in that division, you have the Yankees
Yeah, he could
and you
get
have the
robbed.
Rays. So between those two teams alone,
You
and you
also
have
got the
Boston,
Orioles though.
yo,
That's he could have a couple perfect games.
he could. You're right. You're totally right. You could, they could outweigh one another. But I was going to say, in terms of underlooked Cy Young, what does it say for Jose Barrios? He's got to be on there.
Jose Barrios plus 2,500.
I'll
So
tell you what, that's my pick.
that's your pick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's not bad. So the first couple you got in the AL are Cole at plus two two seven. Oh my gosh, I literally can't read numbers right now. Plus 275, Verlander plus 700, Snell plus 900, Clevenger plus 1,000, Bieber plus 1,200. The
Wow.
list goes on. You heard our dark horses. What do you think Boyd is?
Uh,
Considering Ryu is
he's
30,
probably I don't know. He's probably top 10 though. I would say he's probably like 9th or 10th on that list.
he's plus 5,000. He's a little down there, right next to Shohei Ohtani at plus 5,000.
Wow. Tell you what, that could be a low key pick too. Really low key.
Very low key. And then the NL, you got DeGrom leading the way at plus 350, Scherzer plus 400, Walker Buehler 800, Flaherty at 800, Strasburg 1,200, Kershaw plus 1,500. Yu Darvish plus 2,000, Trevor Bauer plus 2,200. There's some really good pitchers, man. But yeah, there's definitely it's definitely something fun to look at. But that will do it for our MLB discussion for now. Coming up, you guys are about to hear from our good friend Eli Weil in this exclusive interview. Don't forget, he made our intro music, and you can check him out on Spotify and Apple Music. So take a look, as Brandon would say. We now welcome on very special guest, a great friend of Brandon and ours. He is not a pro athlete, does not work in the sports industry. However, we thought we would give you guys a different type of look, a different type of interview today. He is pursuing a career in the musical realm. His name is Eli Weil. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Music, I think SoundCloud too, as Eli Wheels. Eli, how you doing, man?
Great. Thank you guys so much for having me. I just right away, just my first thing I want to say is I love you guys endlessly, and just in life, separate from the podcast, completely. I adore you.
Thank you. We love you too.
Fine to say that because that shit's real. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, let's swear.
Say it makes us seem cooler than we are.
Sure. Yeah, very, very whack individuals, us three. I would agree.
Yeah. And speaking of being cooler, we have our guest today, Mr. Eli Weil, who sounds better than me quality-wise with his microphone versus my Beats Solo wireless headphones, in which I can only hear in this side of the headphone. It does not affect how I sound, but in terms of hearing what you guys have to say, it is tough on my end. So Eli, I wanted to first start by saying you and I have known each other for a very long time, literally since kindergarten. And for those of you listening, a bit of a backstory, the three of us, actually, we met freshman year of college. So this relationship
guys sort of met me, I'd say.
Yes.
No, we all met each other. I mean, it wasn't a three-way meeting, but
Yeah.
I met you, and Brandon met you, and you met us, and we all met each other. So,
Yeah.
Yes. So this has been you know, on this relationship is ongoing. We all consider ourselves to be the best of friends. But as a side note, I personally have known Eli for years and years and years growing up, living in the same neighborhood, going to school with each other, and here we are, post college graduation. Eli is on Bagels and Locks. Eli, we are very happy to have you on today. And we are going to start by talking about your career path, specifically audio engineering and music production. So, for you, when did you realize that this was the path that you wanted to go down?
that's a great question. It's funny because I mean I still have no idea what I'm doing. I just first thing I need to say is like who knows. I'm so open. I'm trying to be as open minded as I can. I would say I got interested in music production in any realm when I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. I downloaded this software called FL Studio. Very popular. A lot of people have it. Great for beginners. It's like GarageBand, but you know a little bit more, and it's harder to learn. But once you get the hang of it, allows you to do a lot more. So that was like the start of me being like, oh, this is something I like to do as sort of a hobby, and didn't really do much with it. You know, over the years, just worked on things slowly. Really sucked. Honestly, a lot of the things that are on SoundCloud, which are fun, in my now looking back, are like that was so much fun, and was out in this very basement making all these little hip hop beats that I was vibing out to, like having the best time of my life, just having a own party by myself in the basement. Um, but then one thing led to another. Years go by, and I didn't take it so seriously in college. The first half of college, you know, I would fiddle around, you know, make a couple beats a year, just like working and having fun with it. And then I tried seeing if I wanted to do business at Michigan State, and I failed CSE. And anyone who goes to Michigan State,
You and a lot of other people.
yeah. Not, I don't feel any sort of like, wow, I stink. But I just did really. I got a 1.5 in CSE. Realized I cannot go into business school. Uh,
I
and
applaud you. At least you got a 1.5. At least, at least.
yeah, no, I showed up to class, uh, and I tried my best. It just did not work out. I did learn a lot in that class. Sorry, that's such a tangent, but um, and then my cousin, I think, told me, hey, like, have you heard about this program at MSU, Media and Information, basically film and audio? And then at that point, I was like, maybe let's look into this film and audio. Started doing a bunch of stuff with that. And by the end of it, I was like, wow, I'm actually learning a ton. I started picking up more music and doing stuff and exploring and experimenting and yada, yada, yada. And that got me to be, and then I applied to go to I'm going to grad school next year for audio engineering, which is crazy. That's like
Yeah.
kind of I've started putting music out in a more serious sense. As much as I would love to be like, oh, I want to be an artist, that's the dream. That, like, beyond anything, like being on a stage seems like the coolest thing in the world to me. But
Mhm.
in reality, like, I'm driven a lot by the engineering side and that stuff. So I'm really putting this music out way more as a producer and as an engineer than I am in any sort of like trying to be a famous artist. Being famous is horrifying. I don't want that. That's what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Pretty scary. Your whole life is out there for everyone to see.
Yeah, Jason
Um,
and I relate to that heavily because
I
him
don't
and
know if
I are famous and we know what it's like to live that lavish, that lush, famous lifestyle.
it's for you
We
guys.
don't recommend it.
I'll try to avoid them. But yeah, I don't know if that answered the question of like when I started wanting to do this, because I don't know even, but like kind of recently I took it more seriously, and so yarn.
what were some of the challenges you first came across when you were making your music back when you started with Fruity Loop Studio back in high school?
Well, it's funny because right away you get the stuff and you're like, you have all these like very crazy ideas, and then
Hmm.
it's like, oh, this is a career that people do, and I'm a child.
Yeah.
I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm horrible. I'm absolutely god awful at this. Like, these ideas are awesome, but I don't know what I'm doing. And it's just like, and to this day, I still feel that way. I just got to a point where I was kind of like, fuck it. Just had to put something out. In the most beautiful, I love and I'm proud of the work I've done.
Mm-hmm.
But I still will constantly be listening to everyone else's stuff, stuff on the radio or listening through my playlists of music. And it's just like, wow, this is Tom Misch. This kills it. Or
Yeah.
like, I can't do. I don't know how to do that. And that's actually really dope to be driven by that. But that's like the biggest challenge. Just being shot in the face with like, whoa, I don't know shit about this. Like about what I'm doing at all. So that but is that a challenge or like a challenge? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
No, I do. I don't know if Brandon does, but
No,
I
I understand.
Brandon sounds like never mind.
Okay, Eli. So we're here talking about challenges, and this is probably one that you recently, like very recently, within the last couple of weeks, have came across. So to you, when do you know that a song is finished? Like finished.
That's a beautiful question. I don't ever. It's it's especially I'm so new to this. That's the biggest emphasis. Me answering.
mm-hmm.
I'm sure in a year from now, 2 years from now, I'll be answering it way differently. But in this current moment, it's been a lot of I'm working on it for a really long time, and it's complete, and it feels right, and I kind of just want to trust my gut on it. And it's funny because I just put out the most recent thing I put out. This song called Cycle Boy. I worked on it for a really, really long time, and I even uploaded it through the distribution service I use.
Mm-hmm.
And then like listened to it a little bit more and I couldn't listen to it anymore. I was like, this is not right. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Deleted it fully.
Really?
Pushed back the date that I was planning on releasing by a couple of days and just I'm not gonna lie, I spent 3 days where I watched the sunrise. This is not a joke or any sort of like exaggeration. Like
mm-hmm.
It's not. I know all about it.
yeah, like I really did grind to make it the way I wanted to sound, and then I released it, and now it's been a week since then, and I still don't think it's good enough. So it's never. There's always something that I want to change. There's always something I learned working on the next project that I'm like, damn, that would have been perfect on this, and it would have solved my problem. But that's kind of like the fun of it, to me at least.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm always learning and always getting better, and maybe I'll revisit that song at some point, and fix those problems.
Right. So maybe it's just never finished to your liking.
Yeah, no,
And that over time it can always change. You can always add something new.
yeah, exactly. And I'm lucky. It's weird to be lucky to not be that relevant within the music scape. But like, I can maybe, if I learn so much more to the point where I'm like, I can go back and fix these songs and re-upload, whether keep the originals or fully delete them. Like, I don't know if it'd hurt me. So that's cool. And I don't know if that's like a horrible opinion or like that's so wrong. That in terms of like the music sphere, testament to I don't know what I'm getting myself into at all.
What are some of the ways that you as an audio engineer can benefit from collaborating with other people? And is there anyone you plan on collaborating with anytime soon?
I actually just started working on like this track, or like I don't even know what to call it, like project with my buddy Evan Cohen. It's funny because I've just known him my whole life. I don't think about him in the artist sense yet.
Sure.
But we spent out, I went to his crib at like 5 p.m. and I left at like 2-3 a.m. and we just sat in his room. I had dinner with his family, but we just sat.
What'd you have?
We had like
Think.
spaghetti and like meat sauce, or I don't know if it was meat sauce. I think it was meat sauce and like garlic bread. It was amazing, so good.
Texas toast, maybe a little bolognese. Okay, all right. So you are treated well when you collaborate with other artists. It sounds like.
Yeah.
You would make this about food, Brandon.
It was good. And we just it was really cool. It was I would describe it as one of my first times really, really locking in and just collaborating with someone. And I think
Hmm.
it's like a space where you can like really excel because you can bounce ideas off each other and just like truly and he's like when it comes to especially um like the technical side of like adjusting thing like in the FL Studio, he
Hmm.
because that's what we're using for this one. Uh, he's so good at it, and I felt like almost more like the artist, and he's the engineer while we were both producing it, if that makes sense. So collaboration is amazing. It always almost like makes me want to do it for every project I'm working on because as much as I love working alone and having my own ideas the full amount being like the ideas that are there, it's so much fun to collaborate with others. I think it creates better projects because there's two minds together is amazing.
Certainly.
In terms of who I would love to work with, I mean that's an endless list of like. I mean, like what do I say? J. Cole, Tame Impala? Like, yeah.
Hmm.
Like sure. I don't even know I have the right to like to even start saying things like that. Those are the big dreams and not just them, so many other people. It's funny to say J. Cole because I would also love to work with No Name. And they have like a
Mm.
They have
like
a beef right now.
I don't know if it's a beef. I think they're the
Or she's beefing with him right now.
yeah,
I'd say that.
I don't
She
think
called him out on
I'm
something,
not
right? That was
I'm not informed enough to speak on this topic at all. Like great, specifically with them, like I can't like, but I love.
and in case they're listening, you don't want to get involved with the beef as well.
I don't want to be like they're never gonna hear this, but like I really hope I don't want to like I don't want to be involved with that. Um,
Oh, we got you. We got you. We'll keep you out of the loop. We'll make sure that you are not involved in the J. Cole No Name beef. We'll make sure that you are safe.
but yeah, I mean, and an endless list of people I would love to work with. I don't know. Tame Impala is just like he's inspiration number one. Kevin Parker, like that guy. I don't. I could go into like how does he make his drums do like sound like that? It's crazy, right? Like that's not even accurate. But, like you know what I mean? It's crazy.
You beat us to the punch a little bit when it comes to you talking about people you aspire, reflect what you do upon like what they do, like Tame Impala, J. Cole. It kind of goes hand in hand with what you're talking about, Eli. But I was going to ask you, like, what specifically inspires you to make your music? Like, have you ever been inspired? Something happens, and right away you're just like, I want to go home and create
I
something.
think you know this answer because I think we've talked about it before, and I'm happy you
Mm-hmm.
asked because I think if you listen to whether the music I just put out or honestly some of the music that's gonna come out, there is a definite like sad, if anything, a sad undertone, if not just fully a sad song, which is so funny because I think most people who know me would not expect that. But here is the reality. I'm inspired by all my emotions, but something about sadness draws me to writing music. I think in the same way that when you're having some people who have a rough day go home and journal and talk about it, and that helps their healing process, just putting it down on paper.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. What makes me heal is taking a sad moment and then creating, a lyric or a full entire song um, that lets me just fully release all of those very raw feelings, and I try not to hold anything back. That helps me heal. That's my therapy. And then so moving forward, so that I don't have to be holding on to that in my day-to-day life, and I can truly feel happy, or not happy is relative, but like feel good and move on with my life. So that sadness that inspires me and draws me to the guitar to start writing a song, that is capturing that moment of sadness so that I don't have to be anymore. You know what I mean? And it's so real and it's crazy because I'm singing these songs and I'm not like lingering and like, oh, now I'm back to the sadness. It's like I'm taking advantage of a sad moment so that I can live a better life. And it's funny because I put out a song called Misplaced Love, and it's like a pop song, like fully a pop
Yeah.
um, that if you actually listen to the lyrics, is like pretty sad.
Hmm.
All inspired by like an exaggeration, but a story told about it, kind of a real thing and relatable thing. I hope that was just me sitting and playing guitar that turned. I took that and then wanted to meld it with the story by putting it into a dance track you might hear at the bar.
Sounds like it's a sort of a form of therapy for you.
Oh,
And
1,000%.
you're going to grad school in Nashville. What do you hope to walk away with at the end of your time at Belmont?
I don't even know if I've gotten to that internally, so I'm happy you're asking, because this is going to be like a very raw and real answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be cool to look back on later down the road once you do graduate, and you can see what you thought about now versus at that point in time.
I love this question, and the first thing I think of is just like, I would love to learn all these skills, whatever, but it's really also just like relationships. I want to go there, and at brand new, I don't know a single person there, and I just want to go there, find other people that I just like align with or whatever, and we get along, and I develop really good, genuine relationships. That's truly the first thing that came to my mind, grad school wise, and actually like the skills. I hope to just continue on the path of honing my engineering abilities and my producing abilities, and become the best engineer I can be after 2 years, and then that is its own beginning of like a lifetime of hopefully experience and like that type of stuff. I don't even know. I hope to when I'm there, but really I hope to develop like true and genuine relationships, just make friends, and like it's so scary. By the way, I'm so nervous. Oh my god, I'm freaking out.
Oh, I know. We've had several conversations about this, and what it's going to be like moving away and meeting all these new people. But at the same time, like, it's a great thing because you never know who these people are, their backgrounds, like who they've worked with in the past, and their connections. So it's it is nerve wracking, but at the same time, like, it's probably going to be the best thing for you, and eventually you'll be like, wow, like, this is amazing, like, this is great.
That's like it's really cool. This is like, I love socializing and stuff, but I tend to fall back on like, I gotta be around like my squad that I already have. Now I'm putting myself in a position where I have to start from scratch. I think there's like a common like storytelling trope of like taking the person, like a person who like seemingly has their stuff figured out, and then removing them from the setting where they have it all figured out and plopping them somewhere else. And I'm
Right.
be in that position. Also, I think I'm probably going to be around a bunch of other people who are doing the same thing. I'm going to grad school.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to be looking for other people. Doing it during Corona, crazy. Way more.
Yes.
Yeah. But we'll see. I'm excited. I'm nervous.
If you know already, like, some of the classes that you're going to be taking at Belmont, talk about the difference between like some of the classes that you've taken at Michigan State, audio engineering wise, and compare that to what you will be doing at Belmont.
It's funny you ask, because I have a general idea of the class I'm going to take, but basically something happened. I was waiting on my financial aid information to come in, and then like because of that, I didn't want to register for classes until like we knew that number. That didn't happen in time, so I couldn't register for classes, so I still don't know technically the class I'm taking, and I won't know until 2 days before I start classes.
Wow.
Which is, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing at all, actually. But in general, I'm sure they're going to be much more intensive, more focused on engineering. Whereas, like, a lot of the stuff I was doing at MSU, although it was awesome, was kind of more geared to just like intro work, which was, I needed. I learned so much in those classes. Things, some things I kind of already, but a lot of things, it either doubled down on something I hadn't really focused on enough, or just completely taught me something new. It got me introduced to Pro Tools, which is like the industry standard of digital audio workstations. I can never remember. That was cool. I mean, I learned a lot, but I really can't even answer that because I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. Well, at least you know that everything that you will be doing is solely based on, production and audio engineering. There will be no like BS electives that you're spending time trying to write an essay. Like,
Here, one thing about that, the BS electives at MSU all made me smarter, like, and more well-rounded person. But anyone who says that the MSU or just undergrad is like, why do we take all these stupid classes? Thank God I know, or I'm not, but think whatever that we know, that I know about like the environment, because I took like an environmental entomology class, and now I have like way better
Yes.
than that, and like, also bugs are dope, and like
Yeah.
monsters extinct, and we need to help. like
Yeah.
like
Right. I'm not saying like it's stupid to take classes other than what you want to, base your career in. Of course, like that's the whole point of college, is you're taking these electives and other classes. But the whole point of grad school is that it is a pure focus on what you are doing.
yeah,
So not to get mixed up, not to get confused, but yes, that was what I was going for.
a lot of people shit on taking like classes that they don't like, they don't care about. I mean, and that exists, and you're paying a ton of money for it, so I get that.
Right.
But to pretend that I'm not a more well-rounded person, which I feel like undergrad is all about, from taking random ass classes that like I didn't know I needed. World of Turf, like we love that class.
Jeez.
Take World of Turf, because I mean, how else would I know about the Zoes of Grace?
Oh my
How
God.
else would I have a free 4.0 on my GPA as well?
Kentucky Bluegrass. What else? What else? What else?
Bluegrass 2.0.
Sure.
We
World
clearly
Turf
took a
Lab.
lot away from that class. I know you said that you have an open mind and you're open to a lot of different things. But where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh shit. That's a beautiful question, and I'm still formulating the answer in my mind in terms of in life. But I would love to be, my dream, you should know, is not just to be an engineer. I want to be a producer. I think my biggest inspiration
Hmm.
is Ruben, if you know who that is.
Of course.
Yeah. So like,
He's worked with everybody.
he started Def Jam, like
Yeah.
next level person. But I'm gonna do everything I can to strive to be what he's doing.
And you don't have to wear shoes if you're like him. And you have long hair. There you go.
But like,
Perfect.
he does things like, he's just working with artists and setting up situations that are like, hey, we're gonna make you and I together, or the band and I are gonna make the best album you've ever made.
Yeah.
I don't know about 5 years, like whatever. Time is relative. Whenever that happens, that's the vibe I want to bring to people. That's great. I understand how nuts that sounds. Just like, who am I to say that? But that's how I feel, and I want to not do anything less than that, or strive for anything less than that. Whatever happens, happens. I'm so open-minded, but like, I don't want to deny that that is the dream and the goal I'm setting for myself.
I don't know if you've ever watched some of the interviews and stuff that he's done, but he is like he just asks very thoughtful questions. You can kind of tell he's just a great listener and like genuinely like cares and gives a shit about like everyone he works with. And I just think that's like definitely a great role model to have. I think he's a super cool guy.
Yeah, super cool. And I like that you mentioned those interviews, because that's like, I've been watching a lot of I've watched a lot of those, and I continue to watch. Whenever I see a new one I haven't seen, I love
Mm-hmm.
to watch. And he asks questions that they're not like, he takes an experienced person in the industry who's worked with a lot of people to ask questions like that, because he knows,
Certainly.
lived it. And that's something, you maybe only get with experience. And so I have a long way to go before I'm anywhere even in the realm of someone as amazing and wonderful as Rick Rubin. But that's where that's the goal I'm setting for myself. So I hope that's not too absurd, but like, fuck it.
Nothing is too absurd. Yeah. You let your imaginations and aspirations run free. So what do you find is the biggest challenge when it comes to writing lyrics and knowing what fits where and why you are singing and writing down what you're saying?
So, writing lyrics, like I said before, a lot of, that's a therapeutic process a lot of the time. I have a lot of trouble writing about just like, let's tell it, not like I can, unless I frame it as like, I'm going to tell a story, it's really difficult for me to write about anything that's not like pretty real in my life, at least to some degree. and it's something I want to get better at. I would love to be able to just sit down and make something happen. Can you say the question again? I just want to make sure I'm answering this correctly.
Yeah, like, okay, so you take your average person, right? Like, some of us like to like freestyle, or maybe some people who have a little bit of musical background or knowledge have thought, well, what does it take to write a song, like to have lyrics? For you, like you say, you want to go down the producer path, but you also put out your own music. Once maybe you get a line or two down, and then it's like writer's block. Like, what are some of the challenges that you face when it comes to writing lyrics? Or for you, does it just flow super easily and it's like, okay, I got it. Like, this is what it is.
When I get into flow, like writing flow, it's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like, writing flow, or when I'm like creating a beat and I'm in real flow, there's really nothing like it. I don't mean to sound like crazy or anything like that. It's actually transcendent, and like I'm in a mind space that is, it feels like being high. It's not normal. It's not my normal brain everyday living life. It's nothing is going to stop me right now, but I can't just get that all the time. That's not just,
of course,
that comes from a lot of times from really emotional moments, or I start playing a chord progression on my guitar and I just start singing and it just feels right, and the stars have to really align in those moments. I wish I was someone who could just like write a song about anything, and my process generally, especially with songwriting, I make beats, but wherever, or I make songs on the computer a lot of the time, but the origins of like what I think is like my best work is when it's just me and like my like $60 flea market guitar that my parents got for my sister.
That doesn't sound like it's $60.
I disagree, but I when I'm just on that's like the biggest, that just gets when I'm grooving and it just feels right. Like recently, I'll even show you. I don't know how, like this chord progression. We'll see if this becomes a song. It's so out of tune. I'm so sorry. Like that to me recently has been really vibing. Like I don't know exactly what I'm gonna. I hope that sounded pretty.
I'm feeling that.
Just like a
Big
little
fans, big fans over here. Fanboys.
like something like in that realm. I don't know exactly. So that's like as much as I can say, because like that's all I have in that moment. And days I might be in my feels, and I'll come back to that, and it will create this like space, and it might be something completely different, and that's okay. And I don't. Yeah. So don't remember if that was answer the question, but.
No, you did.
It was
You
sufficient
totally
for
did.
sure, yeah. Out of the singles you have released, which one, in your opinion, has been the most fun to make so far?
I mean, okay, fun, I think, Misplaced Love. And you can feel that in the energy of the song, like this song just like happened in East Lansing, like in my room, and I started fiddling with "You're gonna get some misplaced loving, 'cause love is not for you."
Is it just because like the groove, like funk aspect that you say is like the most?
I'm gonna do it again, and don't interrupt.
Eli. Okay.
Wait, okay. You're gonna get some misplaced loving, 'cause love is not you. I don't know if it's for the old girls in the past, but when I gave it to them, all I know is that loving couldn't last. Fuck. So that is the song, Misplaced Love. So that's like what it started as, and then it became. like way more funky. But that is the song that I would say is like the most fun to make because it was just like it's sad, but it's like lighthearted. It was that's definitely, you know, and for anyone to go listen to that, like if I were to say like, hey, go listen to my music, I would say go listen to Misplaced Love. That's like the best representation of like the vibe I want people to feel, like aside from like the lyrics being sad or whatever. Misplaced Love, that's the vibe.
Last question here. Do you have a project on the way? And if so, what can fans of Eli Wheels expect from you?
I wish that I could be like, yes, project coming out, but you know what I mean? Might be plugging it. Like it's not that. Everything I'm doing, you know, is to prep for going to Nashville, really, and trying to develop some sort of like credibility because I have none. I would say, you know, expect a song or two to come out before August 10th, but I don't want to make any promises that I can't keep because, you know, like I said, you know, I released Cycle Boy and then deleted it before I re-released because I knew it wasn't ready, and it matters a lot more to me that I put out the right things than put out something just because it's time to. I wish I could be like, hey, big project. I mean, I have so much in the works, know that, you know, 5 to 10 songs that are, you know, written and ready. To make them perfect the way I want them takes a lot longer, and I don't want to ever like hold myself to like this needs to be this date and then put out something that I'm not as proud of as something I could if I put in a little bit more time.
Moving on from our questions, Wheels, with some of our interviews we have with our guests, we play a little game that's like catered like just to them. So this game is catered just to you. Brandon titled it T-Pain Game of Curse.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we are going to read you T-Pain lyrics, and you are going to have to guess which song they are from. And for those not listening, this isn't just out of the blue. T-Pain is absolutely Eli's like favorite person ever.
It's like, you know, it's funny because like I'm not pro or anti autotune by any means, but if someone, I'm very pro autotune is what I should say because like T-Pain, it's just like I grew up on that. Like, baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink. Like I know I sing that differently than he sings it, but I fucking love it.
So Eli, these are going to start a little bit on the easy side, and then it's going to get a little bit more challenging. So let's see how well you can do here. I'm going to read you a couple lines, and we want you to tell us what song this is from. Are you ready?
I am horrible with lyrics, so and song titles. So like we're gonna see how this goes.
It says, he says, "You ain't got to remind me. She already said if I don't come home on time, she might go crazy. And she'll be waiting on me, Nate." What was that?
5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. Yeah, you got that right away. You got that right away. 1 for 1. 1 for 1.
Next, he says, "And she said the club is about to end, and you said, won't you come to my crib?"
Say that one more time.
"And she said the club is about to end, and you said, won't you come to my crib?"
I'm thinking bartender, but I don't know if that's right. Not?
That's not right. I'll read it one more time. You got one more shot, and then we'll reveal the answer. "And she said the club is about to end, and you said, won't you come to my crib?"
Did I know
Now you've
Wait.
officially.
Oh, been chopped and screwed. Okay, but Brandon get it. That was.
I didn't think you were gonna get it.
Ludacris
You were
on that song.
you were a little stumped.
Yeah, I was a little stumped. That's a really good song. Good album too.
Yeah, great song, great album. But you're 1 for 2. All right, moving on. Getting a little bit trickier. Okay, ready? He says, "Girl, I've been waiting all night to see you dance like me, and you gonna sweat your outfit out trying to dance like me." The answer over in the right side of the room as you look that way.
This is T-Pain and Chris Brown. Hold up.
There, you got that right.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting all night to see that. You've been waiting all night to see. Well, fucking, what is that? It's not Kiss Kiss.
No.
No.
Do you want a hint? Would you like a hint that doesn't give it away?
Give me a hint. I'm sorry that I'm taking so long, but give me a hint. No, Freeze.
Yep.
Yes.
You got it. There you go.
This is such a fun game.
Glad you like it, Wheels. This next one, not a lot of words were given you, but it should be pretty easy to get after you hear it. Shorty thick, thicker than a Snicker.
I definitely cannot say the next line. Wait.
But it seems like you know the song.
Booty going up, down.
Yep, there you go.
Yes. All right, so we are, 3 for 4. 3 for 4 here. We got 2 more coming your way. T-Pain says, them big wheels come and break the ground up. Speakers sounding like an earthquake. You found us.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, in parentheses.
I straight up don't know. Like I just I can't even like begin. Say it one more time just in case, but like I have a feeling.
Them big wheels come and break the ground up. Speakers sounding like an earthquake. You found us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I know? Is it bad?
Maybe. It's pretty new. It's like one of his newer songs.
Really? On what album? Sorry.
The purple one. The one with like the purple. I can't think of what it's called. It's new.
I don't know.
It's Rest in Peace to the Parking Lot.
Oh, Rest in Peace to the Parking Lot. That's a good song. But yeah, that's like my favorite on that album. What is that song? What is that album called again?
I don't know.
It's called T-Pain, the purple one.
No.
Purple one. And I don't think it's purple. I think it's black. Like I think the
Let's see.
I mean, Brandon doesn't know much, so.
Well, I know. I mean, I know my T-Pain. I don't really know my T-Pain albums. It's the One Up, and it's purple.
Yeah. That's also not what it's called, but it's fine.
Jason, you want to hit him with the last song here? The last lyrics.
Last one. I think I'm in love with your cousin. I done seen her take 3 or 4 shots already.
That is. I think I'm in love. I know this. Hold up. Is it Drinking Partner?
It is.
Yes.
That's really good, by the way. Not many people I feel like know that song, and like.
No, but I know you love that song.
That song. I think. No, I don't know. Is anyone featured on that? I don't know.
I don't believe so. That's exactly what I sound like.
Yes, and I apologize.
No worries at all. That was a spot-on impression. Think that does it for our game and our interview. Wheels, you want to shout out your Instagram or anything where people can find you or find where your music's coming or anything like that?
Follow me on Instagram, Eli_WEIL, or in Eli Wheels is the name. Also, listen to my music, Spotify, Apple Music, Eli Wheels, ELI.
Tidal. You're on Tidal too. We discovered that recently.
Which is really funny. Definitely give, if anything, give Misplaced Love a listen. That's like totally the vibe. If you want to be a little bit more sad, Cycle Boy, it's a little bit more emotional. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. And I love you guys so much. For real. Thank you guys for having me.
We love you too, Eli. We wish you the best of luck in your career path. We know that we're going to see great things coming from you. And so great to have you here today on Bagels and Locks. We love you.
Throw that back to you guys. You guys are also killing it, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are an inspiration. Like, make me feel a lot more comfortable in doing what I'm doing and pursuing what I'm doing because, like, I see you guys doing this, and I love it. So, thank you for that.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed our interview with Eli Weil. Once again, you can go check him out. His music's on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, whatever music streaming device platform you got. you can catch him there. On Tidal, he is Eli Wheels, I think on all platforms. So yes, go give Eli's music a listen. We loved having him on. Great interview. He's really got a lot of talent for as long as I've known him, and some of the stuff that we've even worked together on, Jason. I've actually had a say in some of his music, which is pretty cool, and we didn't even talk about in the interview. His most recent song, Cycle Boy, I gave him a little bit of inspiration and insight. So we didn't mention that, but I just thought that was pretty cool. And his, if you were curious too, he didn't say this, but I know this because he told me, the cover art for both Misplaced Love and Cycle Boy is paintings that his mom has painted. Fun fact. So if you go listen to his music and you're like, whoa, I like his cover art, I wonder what it is. Now you know. So Eli, we loved having you on, buddy, and we wish you the best. Now we're going to move on, talk a little bit of NBA news. Granted, we are still about a week or so until the season begins, but some breaking news was that the next generation 2K cover athlete, Zion Williamson, the Pelicans' hopeful longtime all-star that everybody loves, Zion Williamson, had to leave the bubble, the NBA bubble in Orlando, due to attend a family emergency. This was not related to any sort of injury or anything of that matter. Jason, we brought it up a couple episodes ago that Zion is looking bigger than ever. He is massive, so it's good news to hear that it's due to a family emergency. And they say that the NBA has for when a player has to leave the bubble, they have a scenario and a plan, a protocol in place for when someone has to leave. And obviously, due to a family emergency, it makes sense to let him leave. I'm sure there's like that 48-hour rule, quarantine rule when he comes back. I'm sure he'll be heavily tested. We don't know if he's back right now or not, but he had to leave the bubble. So some good news there, considering he's not hurt in any way.
Yeah. This sort of, I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick, but, family emergency and everything was sort of fucks over the NBA, like kind of big time, because the only reason why they really didn't go into, at least in my opinion, only reason why they didn't really just start with the playoffs, which they definitely could have, and are having these play-in games, is because the Pelicans are currently not in the playoffs. So they're right on the cusp. They're right there, and depending on how they perform in these 8 seeding games, they could make it in, and then you would likely have Lakers, Pelicans, like first round Zion LeBron type of thing, which is just a huge marketing opportunity for the NBA. And they obviously want to use Zion to his full marketing potential, make as much money as they can out of him. But with him not there, and who knows how long he's gone or what the procedure is like to bring him back, we don't know if we're going to even be able to see the Pelicans in the playoffs this year. So a little tough for the NBA.
Yeah, I forgot that you and I had talked about that just a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting point that you bring up. And like you say, if the Pelicans do get in, then yeah, that's arguably the biggest. I mean, you have the Lakers and Clippers, Kawhi up against LeBron and AD, Kawhi and Paul George, but like having Zion up against LeBron in this prime time potential series would be huge for ESPN, considering, and the NBA, but huge because we've been so long without basketball. And when you combine arguably the greatest player of all time in LeBron James with potentially the next greatest player of all time in Zion, those guys going up prime time, it's wonders for, revenue and the amount of viewers and things like that. So it is an interesting point. Still no update as to whether he's back or not. But obviously he will be back and probably quarantined and tested and good to go by the time the season starts come July 30th.
Mm-hmm.
So some other good news coming out of the NBA is that 0 players have tested positive in the NBA of teams that are in the bubble. So Jason, this is actually a great sign of things, because who'd have thought this would be the case so early? Right? The season hasn't even started. So if 0 players have tested positive and they're stuck in this bubble and they can't leave, will this be as clean as it gets in terms of rosters and players not going out due to the virus?
Well, this is certainly what you would hope for if you're an NBA executive or an NBA fan, or even the players for that matter. But I don't want to be that guy, but it is still early.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people are making jokes online about how, these guys might be calling some women to come in, or might be breaking protocol in all types of
Other
ways.
ways.
And I, I just think it's a great thing. It's awesome. It shows that the bubble system can work,
Mm-hmm.
which is good, but it is still very early in my opinion. We haven't even had one of these seeding games yet. So, I mean, I don't want to make a question of, like how horny are these guys, but it might, we're going to have to see what happens. And let's say someone does test positive eventually. Now we know that someone clearly broke the protocol that they were supposed to follow. And
And
whoever's sick, it might
yes,
be that person. And it becomes a whole chain of events that become very, very interesting.
that we haven't even thought of, and who can even imagine, right? Because if everyone's testing negative week after week, and then all of a sudden someone's positive, something's going on. Now, the NBA there is this notion that there's an anonymous tip line that
It's already like
players
filled
can.
up. Did you hear that?
I didn't. I didn't hear that. I know that people have been using it.
Yeah.
People, as in Kersfall, supposedly. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like you're ratting out play. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? It's a really
I
interesting.
mean,
Like,
yeah, we talked about this I think like 3 or 4 episodes ago, but there's the factor of that where you're worried about your own health and safety and you want to be safe, and there's also the factor of, well, we're playing these guys in the first round of the playoffs. It'd be a real shame if everyone snitched on Giannis and he had to
bro, it's
sit out and be quarantined and stuff. I was also reading online like what happens if like the Bucks are playing the Heat the first round and like a bunch of players like go and like pick up Giannis and like push him over like the quarantine line, and then he has to like quarantine like 8 days for like
oh
crossing the
my
line and like coming back. Like, obviously that won't happen, but like it's just
no,
something really really funny to think about.
yeah, right. I mean, who, if anyone, decides to be incredibly childish and wrong and try to get rat on someone for I don't know any reason, literally any reason, for reasons that we don't know of, to
We're
have
playing
them
doubles and ping
quarantined.
pong.
Right, right. For like sharing a water bottle with Giannis. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. Um, I think that it's interesting that it's there. The anonymous tip line, hotline, whoever you will. What I wonder is who is running that. Like who's behind the who answers the phone.
Yeah, you think
Okay.
that was a listing on LinkedIn? You think be the guy who sorts all through that shit? I missed that
That's
one. I would have done that.
you would applying a heartbeat, let's just say. But at the same time, that person or whoever's listening, like, bro, if Giannis calls, it's kind of easy to decipher,
Also,
you
let's
know.
say I'm like a lifelong Lakers fan, and someone's calling about Anthony Davis. Like, I don't know, I might shove that one under the rug. You know what I mean?
Just slipping under the rug. That's an
Yeah.
interesting point.
Like, it's got
Like,
to be
who the hell?
someone from like Nebraska where they just don't have an NBA team. Like, that's like the
Right.
only way.
Wow. I really want to know. Like, I really want to know. It could be a number. It's probably a number of people. There's no, it's just like one guy, someone
Hmm.
who's just like answering the phone whenever they get a call. So that is some insane, intense speculation to look forward to come crunch time. If anybody reacts in that sense and decides to push the limits and see if they can get someone in trouble. I mean, I don't know. We've never seen anything like this before. We don't really know what to expect. But I definitely think it's wrong, and I disagree with it.
Definitely. But moving on, we're still in hashtag free Woj territory. Still not free yet. I'm not sure exactly how long he's suspended, but we were talking about this last week. It's probably gonna be unsuspended right about when the season starts. So probably sometime next week, a week from now, we could see Woj back in action. What do you think he's doing with all this time on his hand? I mean, he's still like that. I'm like he's still collecting all this information. You think he's just passing it along to someone else? What do you do if you're Adrian Wojnarowski right now?
Great question. I think that he's well. I was gonna say he's probably been in touch with a lot of the big name players in the NBA. I mean, first name that comes to mind is LeBron, specifically because LeBron tweeted free Woj, which says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And one would assume that they already have a pretty tight relationship. So I'm sure he's been talking to LeBron a little bit. I don't know about what. He's definitely catching up with all with all the latest news that he's not breaking. And I'm sure he's just excited and ready to get back. He probably it'll probably just fly right by him. Like I think of the whole A-Rod scandal when it was broke about like him and steroids. Like for some people they just didn't even care. Like it's still A-Rod. And for most people in sports industry, still Woj, it doesn't matter. It's not like he did anything to really harm his reputation or anyone else's. So maybe the A-Rod example is a little too dire. But I think he's bored and he definitely wants to be back as soon as he can.
Definitely. So kind of on an NBA related topic, the WNBA actually starts up this Saturday. For those really itching for some sports, this Saturday you have the Storm versus the Liberty at noon, Sparks versus the Mercury at 3 p.m., and then at 5 p.m. you got the Fever versus the Mystics. I am definitely most looking forward to the Storm versus Liberty because that will be the debut of Sabrina Ionescu, who, as everyone knows, is just amazing. The next big thing in WNBA. Incredible college player. Has broken every record there is to break. She should be very exciting to watch. We talked about it a couple weeks ago on the show. I'm shocked that they're still living in that bubble, or maybe they made improvements to it. But we just didn't get an update on it because we were talking about how there were worms on the floor, there were rat traps everywhere, the showers wouldn't drain. So I have no idea how they're putting up with that. I'd assume the situation improved. We didn't hear anything about it. But one of the biggest WNBA headlines comes from Elena Del Don, who was, if you don't know, she's one of the biggest superstars in the WNBA, one of the best female basketball players in the world, if not all time. She was the MVP in the past, and basically she had a Players Tribune article. And for those who don't know, the Players Tribune, it's a website where players of all different sports and stuff get to just kind of openly write about whatever it is that's sort of like a bigger than sports type of thing.
To share their story.
Exactly.
So to speak.
And so in this instance, she talked about living with Lyme disease, which she has had for many years.
12 years.
Yeah, and she takes something it's 50 or 60 pills every morning or throughout the day, excuse me, to just keep her body in check. And she discussed with her physician before as news was approaching that the WNBA season would be returning, saying, do you think it's okay if I go out there with my Lyme disease and the whole corona thing and whatever? And her doctor said, no, I think it's a horrible idea. I think you're at high risk. I think you could get sick. I don't think this is really worth it. You shouldn't do it. And she goes, okay, great. I'll consider it. I'll think about that. But the way it's set up in the WNBA is she has to get approval from the league's doctors as well. So she got checked out by the WNBA doctors, and they said, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. you can go out there and play. We don't consider you high risk. So she's been put at this crossroads where it's I either can go out there and play, or if she sits out, she has to forfeit her pay for the entire year, um, which really sucks, especially because WNBA players, as you probably know, don't make nearly close to the money that NBA players or other professional athletes make. So it's a very interesting situation that she's been put in. All right, Brandon. So before we wrap up the show today, said we'll talk about Madden ratings. We're going to talk about them. I just got to go on a little bit of a rant here
Go right
because,
ahead.
just got to pop off for a sec. I think that, all I see is like I'm in a couple different group chats. People are talking about this. I see it all over Twitter, all over Instagram. Meanwhile, with the exception of one other person that I know, I am the only person that I know of that plays Madden or played Madden 20. So I don't understand why everyone is so upset about the ratings of a game that they don't even play whatsoever. Second of all, Jalen Ramsey had an incredible tweet in which he said that I don't really care what my rating is anyways because I just adjust myself to a 99 every single year.
Wow.
And one, I think that's just a baller thing. And then two, it's like, kind of brings up a good point. Like, you don't like the ratings, they give you the ability to change them. Like, you can change whatever you want to change. And then third, most people that play Madden play it for Ultimate Team. They don't play it for head to head, and they don't
Sure.
play it for franchise mode. Some people do, but it's sort of died down over the past couple years. But in Ultimate Team, there's different versions of the cards that come out all year long. So in the beginning of the year, you might have a Saquon Barkley that's an 85 overall, but by the end of the year, like every card in the game is a 99. So it does, like, people that are loyal to Ultimate Team don't really give a shit
Yeah.
whether what Russell Wilson or whoever Calais Campbell's rating is in normal head-to-head play, because they know how it is in Ultimate Team and they know that's where they're going to spend the majority of their time within the game.
Yeah. Jason, I agree with you because, well, first off, I've never really been a Madden guy, but MLB The Show's version of that is Diamond Dynasty. So it's the same thing, right? Like player ratings in essence don't really matter because I'm not playing, a head to head. I'm not the Orioles versus the Yankees. Everybody, you start the same, you get the same set of like shitty cards, if you will.
Yeah, the
Like,
starter
not
pack or
everyone get
whatever.
your starting pack. So regardless, like you're right, ratings don't matter. But it also brings up a valid point in, do ratings matter in general? Like player ratings, does that matter across all sports games? I mean, I would say if anything, it goes Madden, 2K. People really don't care about like NHL or MLB The Show. But if you had to say one, I'd probably say MLB comes in third there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 2K is always a bit. There's always a bit of a discussion, especially depending on how well a rookie performs in his rookie season, and then you have the game next year and you see, how they have improved rating wise. But
Certainly. But
yeah,
even within 2K, most people are playing my career and playing my team.
yes,
Not a lot of people are playing um, the head to head. And even if you do play franchise mode, depending on how your players are performing in the franchise mode, will affect whether their rating goes up or down.
hmm,
So I just don't really understand why everyone freaks out about Madden ratings. And meanwhile, when I'm talking about Madden in December or January, it's like I'm talking to a room of nobody and nobody's around to listen to me. So it's like, where are these people all year long that they're so angry in July? It makes no sense to me.
if I've only seen players really discussing their ratings and, well, I should be higher than this person, or I did this last year, I should be this rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've seen. Now, I'm not in any sort of group chats or have seen people talking about this on Reddit or like Twitter, where
Well,
people,
even Instagram, like ESPN and all these fucking accounts are like
Yeah.
they know that it's going to tick people off, and that's why they post it to get the interaction.
Sure.
But it's just
sure.
like, why are they getting angry? I just don't get why people get angry about it when they don't even play the game. Makes no
Right.
sense to me.
Yeah, it's kind of just blown into proportion, and like you said, when it comes to ESPN tweeting it out and like Bleacher Report, like these media companies are just making a big to-do over the whole thing. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because most people are either playing, my player, or they're playing a Diamond Dynasty type, my team, road to the show, whatever it is, where the player ratings themselves, it does not matter. So it is what it is. And it lasts, 2 days, 3 days, and then people forget about it. So.
Well, what Madden's been doing recently is, because they want to get their marketing out there, is like they've released the quarterbacks ratings, then they released the running backs, then the wide receivers. They're doing it like position by position.
Day by
day. And then after they do all that, they do it like, okay, speed, who's the fastest player? Strength, who's the strongest? They just keep milking it. And I just keep having to see all these people be upset. And it's just like, it's smart marketing, but it's like, if you've actually played Madden, like the ratings are like the least problematic thing about that game. Like it is, I don't want to get started here.
You can talk about it all day long.
Exactly. But I think that will do it today on Bagels and Locks, episode number 9. As I said, it's been a crazy ride. Can't believe we're almost to August. We got a big week of sports coming up. And,
wow. Crazy to say that, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty nuts. We're actually going to have sports to talk about on this show. But I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you guys enjoyed listening today, enjoyed our interview with Eli Wheels. And if you haven't heard any of his music, check out the outro to this show right now.
Right. Go check it out. Go check him out. Go check us out on Instagram at Bagels and Locks Pod. We are sure.
Fuck, I keep forgetting to plug that. Yes, thank you, Brandon.
Bagels and Locks Pod. Go check us out and follow us today. Great stuff that's posted there. And who knows, if you really want to get involved and be on the show, you got a chance to go live with us on Instagram. We got some cool ideas here to implement now that sports are returning. And granted, we've never really had anyone to come on the show yet to discuss sports with us necessarily. That could very well change. So if you are interested, we are around. You can message us on Instagram and comment on YouTube. I don't think you can comment on Spotify or any other platform.
You can leave a review.
Interesting. Well, go ahead, leave us a review. And yes, for my co-host, Jason Silverstone, I'm Brandon Rothenberg. We will be seeing you and Major League Baseball and the NBA and the WNBA next week on Bagels and Locks.